Welcome in, everybody, to another Knicks Film School Summer League post-game live stream. I'm Kris Persianen here virtually alongside my, I won't say, you know what? I'll say favorite because there's a joke to come later. My favorite co-host of KFS Study Hall, Shawn with the W. He's also my least favorite co-host of KFS Study Hall because no matter what, he is my co-host, and that I think is why we're great together. Is because we always, we agend and we we agend and we ponder and we pontificate, but at the end of the day, we always do what it takes to bring you guys the best show we can. So I get along great with Shawn, and that's why even though the occasion for today's post-game live stream is a meager, measly Summer League win, I think any occasion to live stream with Shawn is a great one. That's where I was getting with all of that madness. The Knicks win 82-80 in an Elam ending Summer League finish, 75 all heading into overtime. Charlie Brown Jr., Michael Foster Jr., nice little two-man game. Inbound, pass it in, go back and forth, hot potato, no you. But it was all strategy to get to the rim without having either player be a penetrator. They just kind of passed back and forth as they got closer. And then it was Foster's turn to finish. He puts it up and in. Knicks go up 2. Jet Howard steps sideways, steps back. Almost picture perfect game winner from beyond the arc, but it was no good. Anthony Black, their other lottery pick, however, tall guard, tips it in. We head to overtime. Very anticlimactic finish to what was an Elam ending finish, but it wasn't an all-star game environment. It's just Summer League. Knicks win. Shawn, your instant reaction to that game. Is it you don't care? Is it, hey, these one or two guys showed things that are maybe worth being interested in? Is it they did and I still don't care? How are we feeling?
I don't care. And shout out to Asian Ferg in the KFS Patreon Discord, who echoed the sentiment I've had for the last week, is just that I'm glad that these games don't matter at all and there's nothing to look forward to. With that said, I think we all thought that 3 by Jet Howard was going in. Was let you know that Knicks PTSD extends to Summer League. Because I was just like, and then it took that crazy bounce. And to be fair, that extra bounce is what allowed the tip in at the end. But
well, Nick fans saw the Cam Johnson banking 3-pointer to win the game. Nick fans lived through TJ McConnell, over Carmelo Anthony. I want to say there was one other like ludicrous. Obviously, Knick fans had the Dirk fadeaway, the Giannis fadeaway, the Luka, madness game winner. But even role players have their game winning moments against the New York Knicks. So I do understand your point there. But speaking of those two guys involved in that play, really, really quickly, I'll draft nerd out for a second, and we're going to do it from a Knicks perspective. How did you think about how the Knicks went about playing Anthony Black and Jet Howard? Obviously, both put some numbers up, but didn't result in a win. Do you take the result?
I mean, I take the result. Talking in the Patreon, Jalen Martin looked, to quote, I think Dirty Dancer said it, and if it wasn't Dirty Dancer, I apologize. He said he gave him some hopium.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's true. And I actually said, I look forward to seeing him in Westchester. What's his guy's name? Fran Fraschilla made that the famous quote about, I forget who, about he's 2 years away from being 2 years away. I don't think he's 2 years. I don't think he's 2 years away. But it was nice to see. I mean, listen, 75 points in 40 minutes is nothing. Is like, but it's nice that we, like, I think we said it last time. Like, listen, we're just trying to find out who like the 14th or 15th guy on the roster is. And maybe we have one of those guys, and unfortunately, it may not be Trevor. It may not be Trevor Keels. So,
Yeah, that was the next place I was going to go to. I was going to say the Knicks don't necessarily have premier prospects, lottery prospects to analyze in this game the same way that the Magic have an Anthony Black and a Jet Howard. And honestly, everything that I was going to say about Jet Howard, just fun facts and trivia, I think was, George Sedano covered it all in their in-game interview. Yeah, he played with his brother for his dad at Michigan. Definitely an experience where everything was tailored to him. How does he look in an NBA Summer League environment where he kind of has to go get his own? I was impressed by his ability to go get a bucket. I think that's something that Trevor Keels didn't have on the other side. So we can switch to all the Knicks players now. There are names that I think are worth bringing up. Okay, so there's Keels, there's Martin, there's Brown Jr., there's Foster Jr., there's Peterson, and there's Sapintsev. And I think outside of those 6 guys, the discourse is rather unnecessary at this current juncture. You know what? How did I forget?
Did you say Mr. Oh, go ahead.
The great and venerable Isaiah Roby left off my list by accident. Okay.
I was going to say that.
Okay. Roby, Keels, Martin, Brown Jr., Foster Jr., Peterson, Sapintsev. That's 7 players. And I think those are the only 7 worth talking about to any sort of detailed extent on this roster. Shawn, you want to play like a rapid fire game where we rattle takes off? Because I don't think anyone necessarily wants to hear in-depth analysis of this stuff, but I do think that people are looking for a summary of this Summer League game. What's your 1 to 2 sentence takeaway of Isaiah Roby tonight?
I think the reports of him being the replacement for Obi Toppin have been vastly exaggerated. That is my 1 sentence review of Isaiah Roby.
Yeah. Okay. Your 1 to 2 sentence view of Trevor Keels tonight.
Trevor Keels may not be an NBA player. Sentence 1. Sentence 2.
It's a fine sentence 1, man.
He looked better today than he did on Saturday, because I did not see Sunday's game.
Right.
So that is progress. I'll give a third sentence. The second-year player in Summer League, the struggling second-year player in Summer League, is a red flag. Shout out to DJ Zulo, who pointed out about Johnny Davis on the timeline earlier and about the struggles he's having. So it is important to see Trevor Keels play better than he did on Saturday, but he still has some ways to go. I will enjoy watching him in Westchester this season because their arena is very close to my house.
Yeah, so I think Roby Keels is a good place to put a little first stopper in our rundown. Roby, I would have a similar takeaway. I didn't ever take the rumors seriously that this was an audition for him to be the backup 4. I think, frankly, the Knicks are better off using that roster spot on Daquan Jeffries over Isaiah Roby in case they face injury at the wing or guard spots. Roby is not someone who I would trust with NBA minutes. If you can't make any sort of mark on Summer League, I think he was like not great the first game. I do think that he wasn't bad enough to be like, oh man, this guy can't even play Summer League. I just think there's a reason why he's the age that he is and he's still playing Summer League. And that's a blunt and kind of almost too honest way to put it for my liking. I don't see it. And that's okay. And he still has time to show it. There's one more game. But if one game of Summer League, and if it's the last one, that matters. If it's the first one and then he doesn't do it again, that's different than building up to it and showing it in the last game. But I can't say that how, like, if this last game goes really well for him, I still don't think that puts him in position to be the backup four, because I don't think if all 4 games went well for him, he would have been in position to be the backup four. I just don't think that conversation was ever to be taken seriously. So that's it for Roby from me. We can check him off our list. Trevor Keels from me. I see Kevin Danishevsky in the comments remembering something I said about him from last year's draft class and also repeated in the other day's stream. Keels has one ability right now at a summer league level or a G League level, and that's like legitimately good. And it's his size and his handle based on his size. Like, yeah, he can go towards the rim with the ball in his hands, dribbling it and bump guys off him or step past them. And then whether he actually can go past them with the ball is a question. Whether he can get a shot up that he can make is a question. Does he have a floater that's reliable? I don't think so. Does he have a mid-range pull-up that's reliable as a bailout of a drive? I also didn't see that yet. So he's exclusively driving and reading because he doesn't have the pull-up. You know, like a lot of people raise concerns about Scoot Henderson's shooting, Shawn, and for me, it was like he's just got to make the open one. He's just got to make the open ones. He's got to come off the screens, and if he's open, take it. So they've got to keep guarding him so that he can make the passes. I don't know that Keels can make the open ones, and so I would definitely prescribe another year in Westchester for him. And if there's minimal improvement at next year's Summer League, I would be fine with the Knicks cutting bait entirely. I just think you see so many guys take so long to shine. I threw out the Kyle Lowry comparison when Keels was drafted, not because I said Keels would be Kyle Lowry, but because I said it took Kyle Lowry 4 seasons before his three-point shooting was not in the teens, and he was able to actually play minutes on an NBA court that like weren't abhorrently harmful to his team. I am not saying that Keels will ever be on the level that Kyle Lowry is on today as a 35-year-old man. But what I am saying is that Mike Conley needed 4 to 5 years. Kyle Lowry needed 4 to 5 years. You're seeing Dennis Smith Jr. break out as a defensive specialist now, right? What the hell is that? That's awesome. That's basketball. That's when basketball feels like baseball, those weird little quirks. And those are things that I love about both sports. Keels is someone who like can do things that to me are worth keeping in Westchester. But I value him in Westchester getting reps more than I value him as the 14th or 15th man on the roster not getting reps. And that's, I think, a big thing right now. So Keels, enough from us on him, can cross him off the list. And now we can talk a little more quickly about the rest of these guys. I just thought those two were the 2 Summer League Knicks that needed discussing. Jalen Martin, Shawn, the guy who the Knicks put a vote of confidence in with a 2-year, 2-way deal, and who said today pretty much all the right things in his post-game interview after his game winner. He goes, hey, you know, big moments, if they're going to come, I'm just trying to do my best to help the team in those big moments. And then he was asked about the comeback in the third quarter from 11 points. He was like, oh, that wasn't me. That was all QJ Peterson. He was the guy. That was him. Said the right things. How are we feeling about Jalen Martin's performance today? And you know, a little bit of what he said post-game matching up with Ian Begley's reports that he really is a team guy, a hard worker, etc.
Yeah, I think for that post game, we asked him like, what do you take away from Summer League? And he's like, I think I could play with the best. Now, obviously, the joke I like to say is, I'm not going to make that joke. Actually, I can't do that. The joke I like to say is that most Summer League rosters are our future UPS men versus your future UPS men. I make the same joke for preseason guys like the 85th man in the NFL for NFL preseason. But there's something to be said about, going up against playing against NBA level talent and feeling like you belong. And it looks like he belongs. He looked more comfortable today. Again, Hopium is there. You made a very interesting point just now. It's like, it's better for their development to go to Westchester than to sit on the bench and be the 15th guy.
Stop the G League stigma. People need to stop associating G League with bad. That's just it's such a couch take. Like, we are all, if the G League is bad, we are all like negative league good. Like, if you can make 3-pointers, you're negatively good because you can't handle at an NBA. Like, I don't know, how do you evaluate things? Like, it's so not fun. I don't know.
I think even PJ Carlissimo had alluded to it during the during the broadcast that the G League used to be like, all right, you just stuck like your 16th, 17th, 18th men there and just let them play whatever. But now teams are actually using summer league. Summer league. Teams are actually using the G League as development. I actually believe one day some team, probably San Antonio, will be smart enough to say, you know what, we're going to draft this kid 3rd overall, knowing damn well he's not ready. But we're going to draft him, and we're going to send him to. I think Austin is there. The Austin Toros is their G League team. I don't know if they still exist, but I think teams are going to start doing that. And of course, the first time it happens, people are like, "Oh my god!" Da, da, da. But no, like it's like to your point, it's not bad.
They're still there. The Austin Spurs are still there. Yeah, the Austin Spurs.
Austin Spurs. I think they used to be the Toros.
They're still there, meaning Austin. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing Jalen Martin in Westchester. You're going to see Isaiah Roby in Westchester again. The whole backup power forward, get over. That's unfair to him. And then Mr. Keels. I mean, he has some things he needs to work on. But to your point, not all progression is linear. I remember a lot of people think Kyle Lowry was drafted by the Raptors, and no, he wasn't. He bounced around for a while. So. We shall see.
Grizzlies, Rockets. He was all over. So yeah, okay. Done with Martin. Interesting player. Going to be in Westchester for this entire next season, and also the one after that, because the Knicks have already put down their foot as saying, like, we want you as part of like almost like a soccer thing, a football thing here. Like, come, we want to sign you to our youth skills training program, but for 2 years you're not playing anywhere besides there. Charlie Brown Jr., I tweeted out that like there was some flashes of functional NBA stuff. To me, I was impressed by how bad the jump shot was. But then also the cutting, decent speed, able to cut. And when he did cut, it wasn't like a cut where, okay, he's big and strong or whatever, but he can't do it. No, like he's not even that super strong. He just would cut and then had decent touch around the rim and flip it in. That's a translatable skill. I like that he walled off Anthony Black pretty effortlessly late in the 4th quarter. Tired, gassed. I like that too. So there was stuff from Charlie Brown Jr. that to me was like, hey, I want to like keep this kid in Westchester. Like, this is one of the guys who I'm looking at that I'm like, is he better than Keels already? Probably. If he ever gets a shot, is he an NBA player? Yes. How many hundreds of guys has that been said about that have never ended up being G League players? Yes. So, I think that it's worth keeping him around in Westchester. And that's it for me on Charlie Brown Jr. I'm going to extend you to him along with him to you, along with Michael Foster Jr. If you have takes on either of the juniors tonight, Charlie Brown Jr., Michael Foster Jr., both guys that couldn't contribute in a legit NBA rotation role today, but are kind of like one thing away from being the worst player on a team, maybe good enough for that level. Like, yeah, I don't know. What you had takeaways on either of them, or they were both just kind of meh to you? Because Summer League, it's these guys, it's about did they pop or not. So really, I'll rephrase my question to what I really mean. Did either Brown or Foster pop for you?
Brown reminded me that he is the son of Charlie Brown from the 2000 Michigan State Spartans, which makes me old. That's all that I have about Charlie Brown Jr. And for Mr. Foster, Mazel.
Yeah, he had the late bucket that was important for putting us in a position to maybe not have overtime. But he, that did not follow through. I just thought Brown, from walling off Anthony Black to cutting smart and right, which is like how this whole Summer League team has played, is very cut oriented, which I enjoy. And then Michael Foster Jr., kind of invisible as well, like Roby today, invisible, except a couple nice buckets from Foster. All right. Sopinsev, can we agree, was again a fun hustle guy, but today didn't really show too much that wowed you, but like was good to keep in Westchester. Do we agree? Good to keep in Westchester.
You know what I thought was watching Stop and Sev today? It wouldn't surprise me if next season, not this upcoming season, but next season, he was our number 3 center. Just because I feel like he will do more of what Tibbs wants.
He will do the things.
Sims. Yes, he will do the things. He will. Yes. So I just got that feeling watching him. Like I could see after next year they were like, Jericho, thanks, but we're gonna go with this. We're gonna go with him now because he'll do what we tell him to do.
I think more likely than either of those is they just get someone else entirely on a new 2-way or something, like a fresh rookie scale undrafted contract where it's like 2-year 2-way or something, whatever it is. I like the 2-year 2-way deal they did with Jalen Martin. I would like if they did one for a center next season. I like weaponizing the G League, right? It's like having the G League at your disposal and refusing to use it for whatever reason is like being offered financial aid by a college and turning it down to show you can afford it. Like, sure, cool. You can be a good team without a functional G League team. But what is it costing you to set up a nice farm system that replenishes itself and can feed you 12th to 15th men on the roster that are productive, that understand your system, that have broken down the tape with your coaches, that have worked with your coaches? It just, why not, right? The Knicks have spent so much in all the uncapped areas of the league, analytics, practice, software and things of the sort in the practice facility. They pay their coaches and executives out the wazoo. For the playoff series, they paid for all the players to stay in hotels near the Garden so that they wouldn't have to commute from the training center. Like if they live up there in Westchester, I just think like the Knicks spend so much, why not spend there too and keep it stocked? So I like the thought of Asap and Sev being around for this season as a big that can play down there. I just also think they're going to look to freshen up the contracts that are down there, and Sop and Sev already played there last year and would be playing there again this season. So we'll see how that goes. I saved this guy for last because we've really only seen more of him now with Daquan Jeffries out. QJ Peterson had the 5 first points of overtime and did some damage in the third quarter to bring the Knicks back from being down 11. Did he pop for you at all, or was it just like, this guy's doing the scoring thing, but that's all I can see him doing, and we know how those guys that are short that can only score pan out? Like, are you excited about that at all, or did it not really move any sort of needle for you?
No, didn't move the needle for me. 6 for 19, 31% from the field. Like I think you hit the nail on the head. Like guys who are short that all they do is score do not have they don't have a long
lengthy stay
in the league. So he's gonna have to I'm actually have his thing. I can't even pull up his height, but
go ahead, because as we're you got time, because as we're talking, the Knicks just put up a post about QJ Peterson, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Yeah, of course they're not going to mention the field goal percentages. He was the player of the game for them according to the Knicks social media team. So maybe they're listening. Put that out right as we started talking about him.
All right. I mean, like I said, listen, congratulations to him. He, like I said,
flat,
short,
says Google.
6 feet flat. Like you gotta learn to plate make. Got to do something else. You just can't be like a straight scorer. There's a guy he reminds me of, and I can't remember his name. Like a shorter guy that was like scores, and then you're like, this was never really heard from in the league.
I like that he's 28 years old. I like that the Knicks are doing this thing from up with Brunson and Hart and Hartenstein and DiVincenzo, even down with QJ Peterson. And you want to even say like a Roby, like trying to catch guys before they break out or before they hit that next level where their valuation changes. I think they thought they could try to catch Cam Reddish before his value went up. Same process there, even if the result wasn't what they wanted. QJ Peterson, 28 years old, not someone who a lot of NBA teams would give summer league reps to, but the Knicks didn't have a creator at all. Jeffrey's really just a scorer, shot creator for himself, not as much for others. Keel's a shot creator for others, but not himself, so teams don't respect it the same way. No one on this Knicks Summer League roster is someone who you trust reliably to go get you a bucket without a screen. And so for QJ Peterson to be on the team, someone who can shoot, and has confidence in his shot from deep, I think was important for the other guys just to have someone who can do that thing. That's the thing. Summer League is a lot about like NBA things. You know, the way that we talk about the real NBA game is we talk about the edges that teams had. Oh, their rebounding was really great tonight. In Summer League, it's like, how many NBA things can your team do? How many NBA things can your team do? How well do those things fit together? Okay, you're going to win. You're going to be the better team. It's a lot more cut and dry. And the Knicks didn't have guys who could do the NBA thing of like shot creation for others. And so I liked Peterson being on the roster. I liked what he brought to the table. I was not enamored with the shot selection, but literally like someone has to take those shots. And so that's my defense of him with the poor percentage, is that like someone's got to take those shots, and no one was creating anything for anyone.
Absolutely. I find it amazing that we have spent 26 minutes plus breaking down these players chasing a dream.
Well, we just finished. Night.
We wrapped up. We did. And it was amazing. And Kris, this is why they pay you the mediocre bucks that they do, to provide that analysis. Again, on a Wednesday night in July, we are watching Summer League.
Always dialed in. I would have been watching regardless. Okay. Come on now.
I believe you. So, all right. So we have a super chat.
Let's get to that.
And then we also have some other chats I want to get to before we get out of here. So yes, as you see on the scroll, put your thoughts in the live chat. Super chats are not required, but they are appreciated. Right now. So as of right now, we'll be having one wake up rap from Dunkin' Donuts each, courtesy of Mr. Kevin Danishevsky. Kevin,
hey, KD.
Good to hear from you. Sup, fellas? Kind of liking this kid Peterson. Could see some time in Westchester. Fun to see Jawan Tibbs yucking it up. All in all, good. This doesn't matter. Is it true that QJ Peterson is Morris Peterson's son? I need to look this up. Because if that is his son, I am really old. But
maybe
I'll look it up. But in the meantime, like I said, I don't know if you'll see him in Westchester. He currently plays in China, I believe. Yes, he plays in China currently. So for me, I mean, listen, if he's making a decent living, I don't know if he wants to come over, but you never know. But I think the guys that you'll see in Westchester from this team, like you'll see Keels, you'll see Martin, you'll see Roby, maybe a Charlie Brown. But I don't know if you're gonna see QJ Peterson.
Yeah. Fair. Same answer. He's 28. He's making money playing overseas. I think he appreciates the shot to come play for a summer league team and compete for a roster spot. I'm not sure that if not given a roster spot by any roster, that he would say, okay, I'm going to go do this now.
Mm-hmm. And QJ Peterson was born in West Virginia, which means I do not think he's Mo Peterson's son. I'll probably even do the math. He did go to VMI. Shout out to the Keydets. But yeah, I don't know if you'll see him around. So thank you, Kevin. Next up, here's some chats that we have. This is from Matthew Stein. This was the first chat that we got. It said Jeremy Cohen looks like Duncan Robinson. I think that is a diss. And I don't think Jeremy Cohen's gonna be very happy about that.
Wow.
So there you go. Next, from Vivek. Shout out to Vivek. Good to hear from you. I salute anyone who watched more than 10 minutes of this game. Well,
thanks, Vivek.
Thank you, Vivek. I'm not gonna lie, I did not see this whole game. I had an engagement that ended around 8:30, so I caught it about halfway through the second, but then watched for the most part throughout. I did also have the Gold Cup semifinal between the U.S. and Panama on, and spoiler alert, the U.S. lost in penalties. So Panama will be going to the final to face the winner of Mexico and Jamaica. And why do I say this? Because I bet on Jamaica to win the Gold Cup at 16-1 after the knockout stage. Yes, the gambling never stops, ladies and gentlemen, never stops. All right, next. From Dirty Dancer, screw tradition, make every game an Elam ending. I want to see celebrations of 20-point blowouts. Kris Persiani, your thoughts on the Elam ending?
I think when the target score is only 7 points above the final, it's not fun. I was underwhelmed. It only got fun when it got to 80 when it was like 80-80. That's when it got really fun. But thinking to myself, if a team rattles off a 3-pointer and then gets an and one after that off a bad call, they are now any sort of score, literally including a free throw or technical free throw, away from just winning the game entirely. And I think I don't know if I like that a fast break layup, an and one, and a 3-pointer can win you a basketball game. So for the Summer League, I understand they wanted to go small. Even 9 points above the dang final would have been better than 7. But I do really like it in the All-Star game when it's like 16 above the final or 23 above the final.
It's 24.
24, right?
So,
so it was a themed score. Okay,
yeah,
maybe 13 is the sweet spot. 13 or 15.
Okay, in a vacuum, it is the sweet 13 to 15 points will be fine. The thing is, this is Summer League, and
I was talking for NBA. For Summer League, I would have liked 9 for Summer League.
Do you remember
nothing crazy?
Do you remember overtime used to be for Summer League? The overtime rules used to be.
Wasn't it just sudden death?
No, overtime 1, 2 minutes. Overtime 2, sudden death.
Yeah,
because
that's hilarious.
They're like, we are not. I've actually seen sudden death.
That's objectively hilarious. Hey, man, you accidentally scored in your own basket trying to get a block, goaltend. That's a game. That's a ball game.
But I mean, I think made it 7 is like 3 baskets. If you get 3 baskets, okay, let's go home. But I do think that if they were ever bringing up the Elam ending in the NBA, I think 13, 15 is a good number. 15 is a good number. Yeah, 15 is a good number. All right. Next chat from Nick P. Thanks, Nick. I think Martin can grow. Brown looks decent, but I don't see anybody to be a fit for our team's need.
This is a great comment.
Yeah. I think you summed it up pretty.
That's a great comment.
You summed it up very well, Nick P.
These are all guys that are fighting for being the top 3 most intriguing players on the Westchester Knicks. Mm-hmm. These guys are not seriously fighting for a New York Knicks rotation spot. Maybe Daquan Jeffries earned himself, getting that roster spot again because of how he played and the fact that they want someone who can score for the guys to go against in practice.
Mm-hmm. I think also keep in mind that a lot of these players maybe get picked up by other teams. So basically they're getting stuff on tape so that maybe Charlotte, Utah, whoever, Minnesota, New Orleans will say, like, you know what, we could use you as our 15th guy in practice, stuff like that. So it's all about getting good stuff on tape. You know what's not getting good stuff on tape? That QJ Peterson 3 when we needed 2 to win the game.
That was
off.
I tweet really nicely about Summer League plays, and I kind of like threw some shade on that.
But that's why it's in Summer League. So
it was a hero ball ass 3-pointer.
Awful. It was like up 3 with the ball. You only need 2. And he put that. Oh, man, that was amazing. All right, what else we got here? I think I got 2 more comments left. Cool. Drippy, what did everyone think of the OT format? Thought it was pretty exciting. We just covered this.
Yeah.
Elam end. I like
Fun.
Elam ending. It's fun. It's fun.
Different doesn't always mean good, but I think
better.
this is a good different. Is it a better different? To be debated, but I do think it's a good different.
I'll say this: the thing about the Ilma ending is that every game ends on a made basket. I actually remember in TBT in 2021, Boeheim's Army winning on the that was the that now you want to talk about the heat check three. That was the down 2, took the 3 to win it. But like every game ends on a 3. I mean, every game ends on a made shot. So
Yeah.
Imagine if the stakes are a little higher and that happens, will it be coming to the NBA? Listen, in the world of the NBA in-season tournament, anything is possible. So I wouldn't hold my breath, but you never know.
Do you think here's the thing. I think they would die to put it only for the in-season tournament games, but then they wouldn't be able to count those as regular season games and nobody would play in the tournament. So they really had to pick a battle there, and they decided to fight the battle that involves getting the star players to actually play the games.
I bet you, maybe not this year, probably not this year, but next season, the championship game is the Elam ending because the championship game doesn't count during the regular season stats.
That's a great bet. I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take the other side of that bet. I'd try to get in on that with you.
Yeah,
I
think that will happen. All right.
Fred Katz hates fun. Can we get Fred to take the other side? Maybe John. John hates fun more.
Yes.
Can we get John to take the other side of that one? Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Drippy. And from Dirty Dancer, no, don't give Tibbs any more true centers. Jericho Sims is a true center. He may not be the stereotypical Tibbs center, but he's a center. But like Kris said,
Jericho Sims he is one of the centers of all time in the NBA.
Yes. Skopinsev, and I've been saying Skopinsev all day. I'm terrible. Skopinsev, like I said, when I watch him, he looks like, okay, he will do the things that Tibbs, or not just Tibbs, any coach would want you to do. And he may not be great at them, but he does them well enough. And like you said, I think Skopinsev's like 25 years old, so he'll be around. And like I said, I could see him being a third string center. If not with this team, with somebody else, you never know.
Yeah, all right. Little game there.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, actually, I'm gonna throw this one. I'm gonna throw this chat up from Ryan K. Quigley, who says, "Are the Knicks going to keep Fournier until a star deal presents itself, or do they do the right thing and find a new home for him anyway?"
I don't think the Knicks are particularly pressed in either direction. Yeah, I don't think they're thinking to themselves, "Oh my God, we need to keep Evan Fournier until we can trade him for a star." And I also don't think they're thinking to themselves, "Oh my God, we need to attach a second-round pick to Evan Fournier and get nothing back for him so that we can just rid ourselves of him." I think they know he's a consummate pro. I think they know he'd prefer to play somewhere where he has an opportunity to play. I also think there might be a very real conversation coming with him where they say, "Hey, man, we talked to 14 different teams about acquiring you, and every single one said that you wouldn't get a minute there all season unless someone was really hurt and their backup was also hurt," which is your situation here. Would you like to just keep living in New York City? We'll fake an injury. We'll do you a little solid and fake an injury and say that you chose to just sit things out and play it safe or whatever it is and just handle it like that. I don't think they're pressed in either direction. I don't think they're pressured to make anything happen, whether it's finding him somewhere he's going to play, because I don't think that place exists, or finding him a new home.
You don't think that place exists in the NBA?
Who's playing him? Give me the player that a team has that will be moved to the bench. And I advocated for New York to sign Fournier really big time.
I remember.
Give me a player that a team will move permanently to the bench or then give me the rotation that extends to another man in order to reap the benefits of playing Evan Fournier.
I do not know the rotations for all 30 teams off the top of my head.
You're not a madman. You have a life and a child. That's very fair. I will say that I think, but it's a trick question in that, like, whoever you say, I'm gonna be like, no, because they invested a draft pick in him. No, because they just signed him themselves. No, because that's the new regime's guy. No, because that's a valuable contract. No, you know what I mean? Like, I just think
No, I hear where he's coming from, and I'm looking up I'm gonna make sure I get this number right. Evan Fournier is like a career 38% 3-point shooter.
what have you done
So
for me recently?
I think if you have shooting, if you can shoot there, and you're not and you can move, and you're not a
He
complete
can't move.
stiff.
He can't move. He's a stiff.
Define move. Like, no. Steve Novak couldn't move. Evan Fournier could move.
I think he could move. I don't think he can move.
He is a career 38%, 37.9% free throw 3-point shooter. I believe that here's the bet that I'm willing to make. And I made this bet and I've said this to everybody, because last year in Spaces, I said, infamously.
That was true last year. Now you saw him get in games this year sparsely, and he has lost whatever step he had.
Well, I said that Evan Fournier has a place on the team, and I would die on that hill. Clearly, I rolled down the hill in death because he needed his shooting. But I feel as if there will be a team. And again, I don't think he's walking to anyone's starting rotation next year, but I think there would be a team who could use Evan Fournier shooting off the bench. And the comment that I made on the timeline was, many people believe that Evan Fournier's next team is going to be next league is going to be China. I do not think that'll be the case. I think he will get I'm willing to bet that Evan Fournier will be in at least one more NBA rotation before he moves to insert league here. But to your point, he lives in New York and he's rich, and he's a consummate pro. So that's not something we don't have to worry about him making a stink. So, all right. Yeah. All right. And I just want to give a shout out to the 96 people who are watching us discuss Evan Fournier on a Wednesday night in July after a summer league game that the Knicks won, which brought their record to 1-2. They have one more game after this, and I know who it's against. It's against the Boston Celtics on Friday night. Knicks Film School will be back on Friday night for the final post-game live stream, and then the next post-game live stream will be September or October. But so until then, so any parting words before we get out of here, Kris?
Sure. Vivek said in the comments he's not too sure about overtime elite, and they need more time before sending guys through the pipeline. I think they did fine for their like inaugural NBA year. You know, like this was their first serious NBA year. Jan Montero wasn't, I know the Knicks got him, but that wasn't serious. Like I think that may have even been an agent favor. Like I'm not really sure how serious that move was for New York. I had intimated that there was some unknown knowledge about Montero that would make people change their minds on him, and it's not anything he did off the court. It's just that he's a little older than so basically that was like an unserious year for them. This year they got 2 top 5 picks and then a couple of undrafted guys, and I know Mojave King was, I think, one of them. Was he G League Ignite? And he was G League Ignite, and I'm losing my mind. Good. Jalen Martin for the Knicks was one of them. That's what I was thinking of. Good stuff. The guy I just spent 10 minutes talking about earlier. Basically, Viv, I think they just got to keep sending guys up through the pipeline. I think you got to start somewhere. When you start up a school, you have like a first graduating class, like only a couple years after you start up the school, right? Like, does that roughly make sense what I'm trying to say there? You need to give the school a couple years to figure out how to be a school. And then they have a graduating class and they're like, yes, this is our first fully homegrown graduating class. They got a lot of guys halfway through their development, at this stage. So I would be impressed with what we've seen so far because of how the interviews with coaches have gone in terms of how they think they've prepared these guys for the league and who those coaches are. Not too shabby. Pretty good start for OTE. I don't think it was a great start, and I don't think it was a very good start for OTE, but I think it was pretty good or very solid or just above mediocre, above average. I think that was a fine league jumpstart. I think next year I'll revisit that comment with you. If next year, is disappointing in ways that are significant, we can talk about it. If next year is disappointing because the draft class is worse, well, we know that next year's draft class is worse than this year. So I'm not, we'll give it another year. I just think it's important to let these things grow. And Overtime Elite kind of impressed me based on my initial perception of the level of competition and overall seriousness going on in the OTE to everything we learned afterwards. Shawn, I have 3 words left for you, my friend. Take us home.
Will do. Really quickly, Cynic does say, did we touch on why Roby didn't play late if he's in line to back up Julius at the 4? He's not backing up Julius at the 4. I think we covered this on Saturday. Our backup 4 either be Josh Hart, RJ Barrett, or any combination of stuff. Why he didn't play late, I think just taking looks at different guys. So I wouldn't look too much into it. And with that, now I will take you home. And I will take you home by saying, I like to give a big shout out to Andrew Claudio, who tied the knot on Sunday. So congratulations to him and his lovely wife, Rosina. They're somewhere in the south of France right now. And by south of France, I mean somewhere in New York State. But congratulations to them. It was also, his wedding was also a bit of a KFS reunion. I can't even say reunion. It was a meet and greet.
Just a union. A lot of unions going on.
Yes.
A lot of unions going on, being formed. Yeah.
I got to meet for the first time Mensa, Benji, and the one and only Jonathan Macri. I got a picture of me and him. I'm gonna post it on the internet. I sound like old man. I'm gonna post it on the internet. Also got to meet Oz, aka Bernard. It was good chatting with him. I actually got to send him a text, but
Ozzy.
Yeah. So but yeah, it was good to, and obviously I met Kris already at the Garden a few times, and I had met Jeremy at the Garden a few times as well. But it was good to meet, and honestly, and I got to meet Andrew, who I talked to more than anyone else on Knicks KFS. I got to meet him for the first time in person, and so that was amazing. Hopefully that won't be the last time we're all in person, and we'll get to see each other this summer. Hopefully, I'm actually trying to organize a KFS meetup this summer, where we take Andrew to get chocolate wasted, and he can drink all the chocolate syrup and stuff that he wants, because he is a smart man that does not consume alcohol, unlike me and you. And I can say that now because you're 21.
You can say that now. Yes, you can.
All right. So let's get out of here. So thank you again for everyone who's still with us on a Wednesday night in July.
We appreciate you.
We absolutely appreciate you. Kevin Danishevsky, thank you for the turkey, sausage, egg, and cheese wake-up wrap that I'm going to have tomorrow. I will buy it back for you next time I see you at a Knicks post-game, at a KFS event. Stay tuned to Knicks Film School. We will have some evergreen content coming out in the summer. I told Andrew today I need to be on at least one podcast where we draft some stuff, because I've wanted to draft stuff on KFS for the longest, and I finally get a chance to this summer. So yeah, just stay tuned to the Knicks Film School podcast feed and Twitter and
I was going to say, and our social feeds, so you know when.
Yes.
Specifically to tune into those podcast feeds
and our YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube, and so listen. Do this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can turn on alerts.
Listen. Do this.
Listen. Do this. So when So I actually made this joke. I didn't joke. It wasn't a joke. I asked Andrew on Sunday. I said, because I looked around and I was like, I'm here, Andrew's here, John is here, Jeremy's here, Kris is here, Mence is here, Benji's here. So I said, Andrew, if the Knicks traded for Paul George right now, what will we do? And you know what his answer was? We will go live 10 a.m. tomorrow. So guess what? If the Knicks make any type of trade of any kind and we have to do emergency live stream, make sure that you are get alerts for when we go live on YouTube and when we go live on Twitter so that you can see and or hear the thoughts as soon as they come out. So for Kris Persianen, I am Shawn for W. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Knicks Nation, let's ride.